Hi everyone, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Today, we'll step into one of the most intense moments in Lytuna's life, when an unexpected threat comes too close to the quiet home she built for her son. While Alex faces deception in the city, Mai's jealousy sends a warning that spirals beyond control. A single act of fear sets the grove on edge, and a mother's silence becomes the only shield she has left. What would you do if protecting the one you love meant hiding the truth? Stay with us until the end to find out. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what happens next in Lytuna's story. Late morning sunlight rests softly on the grove. Lytuna hums while folding baby blankets, her movements calm and practiced. The kitchen smells of sweet potatoes and clean air. Henry lies in his cradle nearby, hands curled like small petals, eyes blinking up at the ceiling. Lytuna reaches down, brushes his tiny cheek. "You've grown heavier," she whispers, smiling. He answers with a small laugh, a sound light enough to erase the worries that have followed her for days. Her phone vibrates on the table. It's silent again. No call from Alex. She sighs, picks it up, and scrolls through their last message. A simple, "Take care of yourself." He must be busy, she tells herself. After all, the company is everything to him. Across town, Alex sits at a small table in a warehouse office, invoices spread before him. Lan's voice cuts through the paper rustle. "It's confirmed. The second payment never arrived." Alex stares at the figures, jaw tense. "Min insists he never sent son," Lan continues. "It's a fake transaction." Alex presses his hand to his forehead. "That's 80% of the deal." Lan's tone softens. "We'll recover it, but it'll take time." Alex nods slowly. "Do it quietly. We can't afford noise." He leans back, the air in the small office heavy. Every loss, every decision feels heavier when he remembers Lytuna's quiet strength, her way of waiting, trusting. He whispers, "I'll fix this before she finds out." At the same hour, in Mai's bright living room, sunlight slants across the floor. She paces slowly, phone in hand, her thumb hovering over a message that she won't send. "Are you all right?" her mother calls from the next room. "Yes, Mom," Mai answers quickly. Her tone is polite, but hollow. The memory of Alex's voice from their last conversation won't leave her. He had spoken about Lytuna, about how strong she was, how hard she worked, how natural she was with Henry. Each word had lodged itself like a splinter beneath Mai's pride. She dials Dewey. He answers lazily, "You sound tense. What now?" "I told you to go talk to her," Mai says. "Make sure she understands that she needs to stay away." Dewey chuckles. "I'll take care of it." "Just talk," Mai says quickly. "That's all." "Sure," he replies. "Just talk." But his voice carries something sharper, something that makes her stomach twist. Early afternoon, the sound of an engine grows louder near the grove. Lytuna looks up from the table, confused. Henry stirs in his cradle. Dewey steps off his motorbike, sunlight glinting on the metal can in his hand. The air fills with the smell of gasoline even before he speaks. Lytuna's voice trembles. "You're looking for someone?" He grins. "Lytuna, right? You've been busy, baking, helping Alex, acting like you belong." She frowns, instinctively stepping closer to the cradle. "Who are you?" "Someone doing a favor," he says. "But you don't seem like the type to listen to warnings." He lifts the can slightly, the liquid sloshing. "Do you love this place?" he asks, tone almost mocking. "Because it'd be a shame if all this went up in smoke." Her eyes widen. "There's a baby here," she whispers. Please. Dewey steps forward. Then you better think about what matters most. Before he can move closer, shouts echo from the path. Mrs. Tong, carrying a basket of fruit, sees him and screams, "Hey, what are you doing?" Two men run from nearby fields, one of them grabbing Dewey's arm. "Let go," Dewey growls, struggling. The can spills slightly, the smell spreading in the air. "You're insane," one man snaps. "You'll burn everything." Tuna clutches Henry to her chest, heart pounding. "Please," she cries, "no fighting." The neighbors finally pull Dewey away from the house. He shakes free, glaring at her over his shoulder. "This isn't over, Tuna. Next time, there won't be anyone to stop me." He starts his motorbike and speeds off, the echo fading into the afternoon. The yard is silent again. Tuna stands barefoot in the dust, Henry trembling softly against her. Mrs. Tong rushes forward. "We're calling the police. That man's dangerous." Tuna shakes her head quickly. "No, please don't." "What are you saying?" the woman demands. "He came here to hurt you." Tuna looks down at Henry, his small hands grasping her shirt. "If we report it," she says quietly, "they'll ask questions. Alex's company, his family. They'll blame me." Her eyes glisten, but she stands firm. "I'll handle it. I just don't want this to spread." The others exchange uncertain looks. Mrs. Tong sighs. "All right, but if he returns, we won't keep quiet." "Thank you," Tuna whispers. As they leave, the wind moves gently through the trees, carrying away the acrid smell. Tuna kneels, sets Henry back in his cradle, her hands trembling as she strokes his hair. "You're safe now," she murmurs. "I promise." The afternoon sun filters softly through the branches, and though her heart still races, she stands taller, knowing that she cannot let fear take her peace again. Early afternoon light shimmers across the grove, soft and golden after the storm that almost was. Tuna moves slowly through the yard, sweeping away the dry leaves near the spot where gasoline had spilled. The smell still lingers faintly, sharp, bitter, and unforgettable. Henry lies in his cradle near the doorway, half asleep. Every few moments, he lets out a tiny sigh, soft as a bird's breath. Tuna stops, looks at him, and forces herself to smile. "You're safe now," she whispers, but her hands still shake. Each time the wind stirs the trees, she glances toward the road, half expecting to hear a motorbike again. Across town, Alex stands in front of a stack of papers spread across his office desk. Lon reads from a report. The false invoices came from an address in Sun's name. Min says he's never heard of him. Alex pinches the bridge of his nose, exhaling. Whoever it is, they knew every schedule, every route. Lon looks at him closely. "You should tell Tuna. She deserves to know." He shakes his head. "Not yet. She has enough to worry about." He turns toward the window where afternoon light cuts across the floor. "Once this is fixed," he says quietly, "I'll go see her." Lon studies his face, then nods, packing her folder. "All right, but don't wait too long." Alex doesn't answer. He stares at the papers again, eyes caught between exhaustion and resolve. At that same time, Dewey rides back into town, dust clinging to his sleeves. He stops outside a cafe where Mai sits waiting, her phone face down on the table. When she sees him, she straightens. "Well?" Dewey drops into the seat opposite her, grinning faintly. "She got the message." Mai frowns. "You just talked to her, right?" He smirks. "You could say that. The whole neighborhood was watching by the end." Mai's eyes widen. "What do you mean?" He leans back, voice almost casual. I might have scared her a little more than planned. She's not going to forget it soon. Dewey. Her tone sharpens. What did you do? He shrugs. Just brought a little gasoline. Didn't light it. The color drains from her face. You brought gasoline? He laughs. Relax. No one got hurt. Your rival just learned her place. Mai's breath catches. For a moment, the noise of the cafe fades. She had wanted to warn, not destroy. You fool, she says under her breath. What if someone got hurt? Dewey's grin falters. I did what you asked. I told you to talk, Mai snaps. Not threaten her like a criminal. Her voice trembles as she looks down at her hands. You don't understand. If the police were called, Alex would find out. Everything would fall apart. Dewey's eyes narrow. So what now? You're going soft. She glares at him. Get out of my sight. He shrugs, stands, and leaves, the sound of his boots echoing against the floor. Mai sits frozen for a moment, then reaches for her phone. Her hand hovers over Alex's number but stops. She can't call him. Not now. Not after this. She whispers to herself, I only wanted her to leave, not to fear for her life. The sunlight outside brightens, almost cruel in its clarity. Back at the Grove, Mrs. Tong returns with a basket of fruit. She sets it down by the gate and says softly, He hasn't come back. You can rest easy. Tuna smiles faintly. Thank you. Mrs. Tong studies her face. You still haven't told anyone? Tuna shakes her head. There's no need. It's over. The woman sighs. You're too kind for your own good. After she leaves, Tuna sits near the cradle again, watching Henry's tiny chest rise and fall. Her mind replays the scene, the glare, the smell, the fear. But what stays with her most is the voice that said, You don't belong. She strokes Henry's hair gently. We do belong, she whispers. Maybe not in their world, but in ours. Her phone rests on the table beside her. She picks it up, hesitates, then dials Alex. The line rings, once, twice, 3 times, then silence. She lowers the phone slowly, biting her lip to keep the ache down. Outside, the grove glows in the golden light of afternoon. The trees sway, whispering softly, as if promising that the day will still end in peace. Tuna stands, adjusts Henry's blanket, and begins tidying the small space. Each motion calms her, sweeping, folding, cleaning, the rhythm of rebuilding after fear. She opens the window to let in air. The scent of ripe fruit and soil fills the room again, chasing away the memory of gasoline. Her eyes soften. Tomorrow, she murmurs, we'll pick the sweetest ones for your father. Henry makes a small sound, as if agreeing. Tuna laughs quietly, her voice low and warm. For a moment, she forgets about Mai, about Dewey, about everything beyond the grove. There is only her child, her home, and the sunlight, the simple things that never turned against her. Meanwhile, in town, Mai sits by her window, staring at the small stain of gasoline still clinging to Dewey's shirt that she had noticed before he left. Her heart beats too fast. This went too far, she whispers. What have I done? She looks down at her phone again, Alex's name still glowing on the screen. Her thumb hovers over call, but she can't press it. If she tells him, he'll hate her. If she stays silent, guilt will eat at her. In that quiet afternoon light, she finally understands. The fire she tried to start didn't just scare Tuna. It scorched something inside herself too. At the same hour, Alex drives along the country road toward the grove, his thoughts heavy with work. He rehearses how to tell Tuna about the lost shipment, and how to reassure her that none of it will touch their life together. He doesn't know what happened at the farm hours earlier, or that the woman waiting for him is still trembling inside, still holding her silence to protect him. The sun lowers gently over the trees, washing everything in soft orange light. Henry stirs awake, cooing softly, and Tuna hums to him again, a mother's melody rising from love stronger than fear. In this episode, Tuna's peaceful days take a dark turn when a stranger arrives at her grove with a can of gasoline and a message: "Stay away from Alex." Unaware that Mai's jealousy set the plan in motion, Tuna faces fear head-on, protecting her baby Henry while neighbors rush to stop disaster. She chooses silence over scandal, hiding the truth to protect Alex's name. Meanwhile, Alex battles deception in the city, chasing a partner who betrayed him, never knowing how close danger came to his family. When Dewey reports back, Mai realizes her warning has gone too far, leaving guilt to replace anger. As the day fades, Tuna finds strength in calm, proof that even under threat, love can endure quietly, like sunlight that refuses to burn out.